Okay, we have reached week 15, the final week of wills and estates. We've gone through wills, what makes a valid will, the parts of a valid will, estate planning, trusts, what they are, how you use them, and how to put together an entire estate plan. There's one last missing component, and that is elder care or long-term care. This is an area of law that's really kind of blossomed over the last 20, 30 years. People are living longer. We have better health care. We're not in as physically challenging jobs as we used to be, so our bodies aren't as beat up as quickly as they used to be. And because we're living longer, there's a need for different kinds of services for the elderly. Medical services, housing services. And so a whole industry has grown up around this idea of people living longer. That's compounded by the fact that we have a whole generation of people, baby boomers, I'm like the tail end of the baby boomers, who are coming of retirement age and are living a lot longer. And society changed. It used to be parents moved in with kids and the kids took care of them. That was it. Maybe you went into a nursing home. That was it. Now kids are working longer. Mom and dad need somebody to take care of them. They may live in different cities. And so there is this need that the market has filled for long-term care. There's long-term care facilities that fall into different categories. We go over that in real property class, where we have condominiums that empty nesters will sell their big home and they'll go into a condominium. That condominium is on property that's owned by a retirement village kind of thing. Then if the people in the condominium need to move into assisted living because they need some medical assistance, they sell their condominium and they move into assisted living, again, within the same complex. And then if they no longer can manage with just assisted living, which is just a certain level of medical care, then they will be moved into the nursing home. All of the benefits that seniors have available to them are channeled through this system, from condo to assisted living to nursing home. And so we're going to go through all of the different financial resources that are available, who they serve the best, who should get them, how you should advise clients, because this really is part of estate planning. Okay, so why do we even worry about long-term care? Well, again, because society has changed. Women aren't at home taking care of kids and grandparents. They're out in the workforce. We're busy. They are in different cities. It's not accessible. Unless parents want to move physically from their hometown to where the children live, you've got to have some kind of eyes on the person who is having some difficulty. And when I went through the condominium to assisted living to nursing home, there is kind of an intermediary step, and that's adult daycare. Adult daycare is what maybe mom and dad are divorced, or one spouse has died and there's one person in the home, and you lose some cognitive ability if you're not busy, if you're not doing things. Or maybe there are some physical challenges. Maybe there's been a stroke. Maybe there are some physical challenges that have come just with natural aging. So dropping mom or dad or aunt or uncle off at a facility where they're safe all day long, they're with people, they're using their brain, they're staying active, is a good first step. Some people choose to instead have home health come to the house. I'm sure we've all seen the commercials for home health aides who come into the home and help with dressing and cooking and cleaning. That's another option. Um, some policies or some kinds of things that you will purchase for long-term care to help cover it is also respite care. Maybe mom dad has moved in with child, but it's a lot to run a household and take care of someone whose health is failing or may have had surgery or hip replacement or memory care issues. And so there's something called respite care where basically it's like home health care, but it's on the spot, where someone will come in and sit with the elderly person in the home so that you can go out for an evening or go grocery shopping or do things that need to be done so that you can run your household. So those are just some of the ways we are looking, or some of the things we're looking to be able to pay for as we get older. What kind of resources are you going to have at your disposal? And again, this is part of your estate planning. You want to make sure you aren't planning on just giving everything away in anticipation of, your will being probated, or you're not putting everything in trust so that you don't have any income to take care of yourself. So what do we have available? Well, there's Social Security. And Social Security, I love that they call it its real name, which is Federal Old Age Survivors and Disability Insurance. So what is that? Well, you work and you have to pay taxes, FICA taxes. Those Social Security taxes, they keep track of the money that you've paid in. They use the money you've paid in to pay other people who are now elderly. It's kind of a rotating thing. And then the government supposedly invests it, makes a little interest off of it. And then when you retire, you have access to this lump sum of money that gets paid out to you periodically over the rest of your life. You can start at age 62, or if you're disabled, you can start earlier than that. You don't have to start at 62, you can start at 65. If you're a spouse of somebody and you've been married for more than 10 years, which we call a long-term marriage, then you're entitled to a portion of it. And in addition, Social Security pays a death benefit of $255 towards your burial expenses. Okay? We have Supplemental Security Income, SSI, which is income that is paid to people who are disabled, who didn't work at all, or someone who never worked and wasn't married to somebody who worked, and so you didn't qualify for Social Security, but you will get a lump sum every month of, I believe it's $700 a month from SSI. As far as health coverage is concerned, once you hit 65, you can only buy insurance policies that supplement Medicare. Medicare is health insurance for the elderly. Why do we have it? In the 1960s, the insurance company said, look, these people who are older are killing us. As far as our premiums, if you younger people want to pay lower premiums, the government's going to have to pick up the tab for older Americans. So it's government-run insurance. It's a socialist system, right? Because it's not based on your individual needs. There is Medicare. Now, you can choose supplemental insurance to supplement the Medicare that the government provides to you. Part A helps it's called Medicare Part A, Part B, Part C. So Part A will help pay for inpatient hospital care, home health, hospice, inpatient nursing care for 3 days, and inpatient care for a religious non-medical healthcare institution, rehab. It is for a limited period of time. This is not when you go into a nursing home and you're going to live the rest of your days there. Nursing home for rehab, basically, is what Medicare pays for. It'll also, you may want to buy supplemental insurance that will pay for your day-to-day stuff like doctor's visit, outpatient hospital care, diagnostic tests like x-rays, durable medical equipment if you have to get crutches or a wheelchair, necessary ambulance services, and home health visits after you're injured. So most people buy Part A and Part B supplemental insurance for when they reach age 65 for Medicare. Part C is a Medicare Advantage plan where you can become part of a healthcare maintenance organization, PPOs. It basically takes away your deductibles when you go to the doctor. Okay? Again, let me stress that Part A and Part B of Medicare don't pay for long-term nursing home, long care, assisted living. It's only short-term stuff that Medicare will pay for. Medicaid is what pays for long-term nursing home. Okay? Everybody in the nursing home's on Medicaid. That's just the way it is. So Medicare, let's talk about the difference between the two. Medicare is an earned benefit. Excuse me. An earned benefit. It is through socialized medicine. It is for people 65 and older. And then you can buy supplemental insurance to go with it. That's for like your everyday stuff while you're up and moving and ambulatory. Medicaid is needs-based health insurance that's provided through the states. The federal government does not run Medicaid. Each individual state runs their own Medicaid. So if you are going into a nursing home, long term, you're going to live there. Social Security, your money from Social Security and any other investments that you've made, any kind of insurance that you've purchased, will go to pay for the nursing home. If you still don't have enough money to pay for the nursing home and you've exhausted all of your other avenues of income, then Medicaid will kick in. Nursing homes have staffs that are dedicated to filling out the paperwork to apply for Medicaid, making sure you meet the requirements for Medicaid. Okay? What if I have too much money? What if I've got a house? Well, there's a spend down process where Medicaid will pay part of it, but you're going to pay part of it until all of your assets are gone. Boy, that sounds great, doesn't it? See, this is why it has to be part of this long-term care needs to be part of your estate planning, because you're going to wipe out everything that you've earned, that you've worked for, if you have to go into nursing home long-term care. Okay? Because the state isn't going to cover you if you own a house. Sell your house, pay for it. That's what's going to happen. This is why it's really, really important to do estate planning. You don't know what's going to happen. Putting everything into a trust is one way of making yourself eligible for Medicaid when the time comes. Okay? If you have no income, if you are a person who sadly through your life for whatever reason is on SSI, you don't have any money, you're disabled, you don't own anything, you live in government subsidized housing, you really don't have any worries about long-term care, don't really need to worry about estate planning because you're eligible for Medicaid. And there's nothing that the government can force you to sell because you don't have anything. So you qualify. Done. You're in. Nothing is going to be lost from your estate. If you are a high-income individual and you have comfortable assets and you've saved and you have, retirement assets, you probably aren't going to worry about Medicaid. you're going to be able to pay for your long-term nursing care. The people who need long-term care insurance are people right there in the middle. People who own their house, people who, they've worked hard, they've paid off their mortgage, they own their car, they have some savings, they have some money for retirement, but they're, not jetting off to the Bahamas, but they're comfortable. Those are the people who need the insurance. Remember that insurance is risk management. That's why we have the insurance industry, right? Why do I buy car insurance? Well, because if I'm in a car accident, I probably don't have enough money in the bank to pay off a really bad injury that I caused to someone or that someone causes to me, right? And so I balance my risk by saying, I could afford $1,000 deductible. I always have $1,000 in the bank. Yes, it will hurt, but I will be able to pay that deductible should I cause an accident, and the insurance company will pick up the rest of that risk. And I pay monthly premiums or annual premiums, however you structure your car insurance, so that I can sleep at night. So that if I'm in an accident that I cause, or if somebody hits me and they don't have any insurance, I can sleep. I've got enough insurance. I've balanced and managed my risk. Okay? The same thing with long-term care insurance. The marketplace has looked at this arena of long-term care, especially with baby boomers, and has said, there's this big slice in the middle of middle-income people who don't have enough money in the bank to pay for long-term health care and are going to lose everything if in fact that happens, that somebody needs to go into a nursing home. So I think we will provide insurance with a deductible that people can select where their comfort level is so that they can manage their risk, so that they don't lose everything that they've lived for, so that the insurance can step in and pay the bills. Okay? What do you really want from long-term healthcare insurance? You need to know what the qualifications are for Medicaid and make sure that you meet those Medicaid criteria to pay expenses of long-term care, to maintain and protect your assets, to leave inheritance to your family. That's one of the goals of buying the insurance, right? You want to select a location where long-term care is received, select your caregivers, receive federal income tax benefits, which we're going to talk about, and maintain independence as long as you can. Okay? So what are these tax benefits? Well, when you buy long-term healthcare insurance, whatever you pay for that premium gets deducted from your income tax. It's an automatic deduction. Isn't that pretty nice, right? You want to look at certain things when you buy life insurance, long-term healthcare insurance. One is, what's the maximum amount that they'll pay? They're going to cap it. So is it so much per day? Is it so much per month? So much per year? And you've got to look around at the facility where you think you may want to have to go if you have to go someplace. Look at their prices. Okay? Compare it to the insurance policy. Is it going to be covered? Okay? How long does the insurance policy pay for? Some will pay for 20 years. Some will pay for 2 years, and everything in between. So you want to check that in the policy. The types of coverage. Some coverage is only for nursing homes. Some will not include assisted living or home health care. So some have everything. So there is something in the marketplace for you. You just have to look around. You have to know what it is you want and then look for it. Okay? How much does it cost? Are you going to be able to afford it? And the big thing that you have to consider with this cost is costs go up right? We're in an inflationary period right now. I've only lived in one period in my entire long life where costs sort of stayed stable, and that was under President Trump, where inflation was anywhere between 1 and 2%, which is livable, and where healthcare costs were holding steady. They were not increasing. We are now in double-digit inflation. We may be in a recession, right? Traditional economists say that 2 quarters, 3-month periods, where the government is losing money, the GDP decreases. They call it, I don't even know why they call it this, but they call it negative growth. Negative growth means you're losing. I don't know why they have to call it negative growth. But anyway, 2 consecutive 3-month periods where there's negative growth or you're losing is called a recession. Well, we've had 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Now all of a sudden all of the definitions are changing, whatever. We all know when you go to the grocery store, everything's more expensive every week. Same goes with healthcare. So you want to make sure that you buy a policy that you're going to be able to afford as the policy premiums increase, because they will. Because insurance is an industry and they don't lose money. They're not going to collect less money from you than pay out more. They're going to raise the premiums. Okay, just like if you're in a car accident. Okay, the risk of you having another accident goes up, your premiums go up. The risk of healthcare costing more goes up, your premium goes up for long-term healthcare. Okay, so those are the things that you need to look at. You also need to know whether there's a waiting period involved from when you buy the insurance to when you use it. Some of them have anywhere from 3 to 5 years that you have to wait before you can actually use the insurance. Okay? There might be pre-existing condition limitations. So if you know you have a heart condition and you disclose that to the insurance company, they may not cover you if, in fact, it's a heart condition that puts you into long-term care. Obviously, you can stay away from those. How do you know what's a good policy and what's not? There are rating services, and those are listed in your book. Okay? But if you are middle income and you are hoping to pass on something to your children, which is part of the American dream, how you build wealth, long-term health insurance is part of your estate plan that might help that happen. Okay? Are there alternatives to long-term health care? Sure. There are things called whole life insurance policies. It's different from term life. Whole life has a cash value that you can draw upon while you're still alive. There are life insurance policies that are term life that, their only benefit is they pay when you die. There are companies out there that will buy your term life insurance and give you a percentage of it. Or you can use a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage is where you basically sell the legal title to your home to a bank, a mortgage lender, and they pay you monthly for the equity you have in your home. So if my house is completely paid off and I get a reverse mortgage, say my house is worth $100,000, the reverse mortgage company will buy my house for $100,000. I can stay in my house as long as I want to, and they will give me $100,000. That's how it works. Okay? There's no great answer to long-term care. There really isn't. I will tell you that having lived through it with my in-laws on every end of the spectrum, from family members who have had cognitive decline with Alzheimer's, to medical issues with cancer, to just limited mobility from getting older. Every case is individual. and your client knows their own limitations better than anyone. They've seen their families, they know their family history, they know whether they can move in with family members. They know whether they will do better in a home or in a group setting. It's important to talk about these things with your clients before there is any mental decline, so this can be included as part of their estate planning. Okay? So that's it for this lecture. That's it for this semester. I hope you learned something. Please do your discussions and your assignments for this module, and I will be posting your final exam. Thank you.